Hi everyone, a quick comment before the episode starts. To keep making these episodes, we need your support.
Give us your subscriptions, your likes, your comments.
You're tired, you're poor, you're huddled masses yearning to breathe free.
Nabilah?
No?
No, it's not that serious.
Wherever you're listening, please subscribe, like, leave a review.
Leave a comment, turn on that notification bell.
And definitely share.
But we do want the huddled masses yearning to breathe free.
Thank you and enjoy today's episode. From Triple E Media, I'm Rahmat Muhammad, and this is The Backstory.
On May 7th, 2017, our President Muhammadu Buhari left the country. Now, according to Femi Adesina, who was and still is Buhari's special advisor on media and publicity, the president was going out of the country for a medical checkup.
The president, Muhammadu Buhari, has flown to London for follow-up consultation with his doctors. His special advisor on media, Femi Adesina, released a statement that the president delayed his journey.
So the president handed off his powers to the vice president and was rushed off to London. That's where his doctors are. And then the presidency went silent.
It's a record by any Nigerian president in terms of the length of time the president has been away from the country. Over 100 days and still counting. There's as yet no clarity over when President Muhammadu Buhari is likely to return.
Days turned to weeks, weeks turned to months, and the president made 0 public appearances. Then, 3 months and 12 days later,
in a matter of minutes, President Muhammadu Buhari will touch down in Abuja, the nation's capital, and we will tell you as soon as that happens. The president has been away for over 100
Nigerians were given no explanation of what happened to him. No one knows what he was treated for. All they said was Buhari is now healthy.
Or is he? How can we be sure that the man who came back is our president?
This disturbing information came from the nation's newspaper of Tuesday, November 27, 2018. Related by one Olatunji Dare, exploded with authoritative assertions that President Buhari had died in the UK in 2017, where he was undergoing medical treatment, that the entrenched Cabal in Nassau Rock had procured a Buhari double in Sudan and pressed him into service as Nigeria's president.
That's Bishop David Oyedepo, president and founder of Living Faith Church, one of the biggest churches in Africa. Now, after the president came back, the bishop and other influencers started to repeat a theory that the man who returned was not actually Buhari, but a cloned double. Now, this cloned double's name is actually Jibril, and for some reasons, he is from Sudan.
People in the millions started to believe this theory, that Buhari actually died and the powers that be have managed to bring back a clone.
First of all, please know that no human being has been successfully cloned except in movies. In 1996, scientists cloned a sheep popularly known as Dolly the sheep, and that was the first time that an animal was cloned. They've cloned other animals after that, such as these 2 monkeys that were cloned this year. So they've been able to clone some animals, but they've not been able to clone a human being.
As Adeola points out, cloning technology is not yet advanced for human cloning. But let's just say for argument's sake that cloning technology could make human clones. A clone of Buhari still needs 70 plus years to grow and develop to the old man that Buhari is today. So if our president is a clone, we would have had to have cloned him way back in the 1950s.
Well, your argument is useless here.
But the president even spoke and said he is not a clone.
How do you know that it's not a doctored video?
There are pictures of people, including the vice president and others, who flew to London and took pictures with the president.
How do you know those pictures were not doctored? How do you know they are real? What is real? How do you define real? Do you think that's air you are breathing?
Okay, Morpheus. Today on The Backstory, we discuss conspiracy theories. What are they? Why do we believe them? And what are they doing to us as individuals and as a society?
So a theory is a way of explaining something that happens, something that we observe.
That's Dr. Rahmat Muhammad. You know her as the executive producer of this podcast, The Backstory, and CEO of Triple E Media. But she's also a neuroscientist. She got her PhD from MIT.
There are scientific theories that explain how the world works. So, for example, we see the sun come up every day in the morning and then it goes down in the evening. And the scientific theory for that is that the sun is fixed in one place and that the earth goes around the sun. And as it goes around, it also rotates. So for about 12 hours during the day, we're facing the sun. And then for another 12 hours or so, we're facing away from the sun. Now, that's an oversimplification, but that's the gist of it.
Now, scientific theories rely on the principles of physics, biology, chemistry, and other sciences to explain what happens, what we observe.
Then we also have these economic theories. For example, we observed that donkeys have been disappearing from Africa, and there's an economic explanation for that. There is high demand for donkey skins in China, and we in Africa are supplying them, and that's leading to a decrease in donkeys in Africa.
Economic theories rely on the principles of supply, demand, incentives, and punishment to explain what's happening.
And then we have conspiracy theories.
Conspiracy theories, just like scientific and economic theories, they try to explain what happens, what we observe, but they tend to rely on these powerful forces, either supernatural or really rich people or really influential people, to explain what's happening. Conspiracy theories usually start when we notice something happen, we have a bunch of questions about it, and those questions go unanswered, or at least they're not answered right away.
For example, in the case of Buhari's clone theory, people had a lot of questions early on in May 2017 when the president went to London. What's going on with the president? Is he okay? Is he ill? How ill was he? Was he injured? How serious was it?
And of course, weeks went by with no answers. So suspicion started to grow. People started to suspect that the president was dead.
Now, when questions go unanswered, people, they start to develop this suspicion that something is off. Something is not right. And then they believe that there's some kind of hidden meaning to what they are seeing and what they're hearing. Or maybe there's an ulterior motive or even a cover-up.
And maybe to help settle the rumors of the president's death, an APC delegation went to London to visit the president, and a photo of that visit was released on July 23rd, 2017. After that, photos from several other visits were released, including visits by the president's communications team.
But those photos came way too late. I mean, some people didn't believe them, some still don't, and many believe the photos were photoshopped and faked. And that the people involved in creating the false photos must be part of a cabal. That's a small, powerful and influential group of people who were trying to hide the actual truth that the president had actually died.
So now here's the thing. Once you believe that there is truth out there, but that there is some plan to hide the truth from you, you now have to believe that someone, right, or some group is trying to hide that truth. That group may even get to the point where they are faking information in order to try to throw you off the scent of the real answers. So in order for this cabal to be able to create information or hide information, they have to be extremely competent. They have to be very smart, or they have to have extraordinary means or extraordinary influence. Now, in Nigeria, we often put our politicians as central characters in our conspiracy theories. They are the powerful forces that are trying to hide the truth from us.
So, as the rumors of the president's death continued to spread, despite the photo evidence, a conspiracy theory started to take hold that the president has died and that his political party, APC, was covering it up.
But when Buhari came back physically into the country, the conspiracy theories had a problem. I mean, they were able to explain the photos as being photoshopped, but how were they going to explain a physical body?
For a long time, people believed that the earth was flat. People thought that you could be walking around and you'd basically get to a point and literally just fall off the face of the earth. But then around 500 BC or so, the Greeks came up with a different theory, that the earth was actually round. Now, over time, they accumulated evidence to support the round Earth theory, and that evidence has since included images from space. So today, for the most part, most of us believe that the Earth is round.
That is a clear example of human beings believing one thing, that the Earth was flat. But when there was enough evidence that the Earth is actually round, the flat Earth belief, became false, and we adopted our current belief that the Earth is round.
So in the case of the round Earth theory, we started to believe the new evidence that was gathered over time. But see, the problem with conspiracy theories is that the evidence itself is suspicious. So for example, if you're a conspiracy theorist and I bring you a picture of the Earth from space and I tell you, look, the Earth is round, you're going to say no, that I must have somehow photoshopped that image. Or let's say that I even take you to space and I show you the Earth from space. Maybe you'll say that, well, I must have knocked you unconscious and that I connected you to a virtual reality machine and we really didn't go up into space.
So with conspiracy theories, evidence against the theory doesn't really matter because people who believe in the conspiracy believe the evidence can be faked. So the evidence itself becomes part of the conspiracy.
And that's how some Nigerians eventually explain the issue of Buhari coming back in physical form. The conspiracy theorists believe the physical form of Buhari must have been a fake one, a clone or a pretender. That's how we ultimately got to that conspiracy theory that Buhari is a clone.
And even in the face of all evidence against the theory, people still believed it. I mean, some believe it till this day. So why do conspiracy theories work?
Well, conspiracy theories work because they're extremely comforting. They give us a level of control, which is pleasant. It's a pleasant feeling. And the human brain is wired to seek pleasure and to avoid pain. Now, I know that most people, when they hear pleasure and pain, they assume physical pleasure and physical pain. And yes, the brain does process physical pleasure and physical pain. But more importantly, the brain thinks about social certainty as pleasure and social uncertainty as pain. And what conspiracy theories do is they move us from a point of uncertainty, a point of pain, to certainty, which is pleasant.
So what's more pleasant? Not knowing if a vaccine is actually safe and effective, or believing that there is a cabal that is out to control you through the vaccine? The belief about the cabal is much more comforting because it comes with an illusion of certainty. You can't be certain about the drug, but you can be certain about the cabal. And even if there is evidence against the theory, the cabal must have engineered that evidence to cover up what they are trying to do.
It seems conspiracy theories thrive where there happens to be a lot of uncertainty, and Nigeria's current state is the definition of uncertainty. I mean, there's economic uncertainty, political uncertainty, there's social uncertainty, there's insecurity everywhere. No one feels like they have any control over what happens to them. So we have to reach and we grasp for anything that gives us some, level of control.
Now, the reason why the brain does not like uncertainty is because uncertainty stops us from making decisions. It stops us from taking action. So the quicker the brain can convince itself about something, anything, the quicker it can reach some resolution.
So let's get back to our Buhari is a clone conspiracy theory. When faced with the proposal that the president is possibly a clone or impostor, one may look at that and choose not to believe it. That person has given their brain a point of certainty that it's not true and they can move on. Another person may look at the proposed theory and convince their brain that it is true and this person can also move on. The person who remains uncertain, who truly can't figure out what's true or not, will simply give up and, check out.
And that's the danger of conspiracy theories. I mean, they present a huge amount of uncertainty into societies. And people just stop engaging because they don't know what's true, what's false, what to trust or who to trust. So they trust nothing and they're stuck and feel powerless to do anything.
The conspiracy theory is one of the many important tools in psychological warfare. It starts with the battle for your sense of control. You first have to be made to feel like you're somehow at a disadvantage, that you're marginalized, you're a victim, that you'll never get justice, that someone else has power over you, or maybe some group is trying to take down your administration. Once your sense of self-control or your sense of self-determination is threatened, either in reality or in perception, then the conspiracy theories can start to take root. You're not in control because someone somewhere is in control and they don't want the best for you. Maybe they even want to harm you. Maybe they're the police, the government, the opposition party, Fulani herdsmen, unknown gunmen. Now, once the seeds of victimhood and the idea of an enemy are planted, then your brain does the rest automatically. You begin to look for and interpret every move the supposed enemy makes as proof of the conspiracy against you, against your people. And from that position of paranoia, you can be easily convinced or manipulated to take and to support any action against the so-called enemy. And all it took was manipulating your sense of control. So what's our best defense against going down the rabbit hole? Well, education helps, specifically education in critical thinking. Another defense is to learn to control your brain before it goes down the rabbit hole. This is where meditation practice comes in. Another tool is to train yourself to ask questions before you form your theories. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. But of course, the most effective way to fight against the mass destabilizing forces of conspiracy theories is for everyone to have a job. Nothing gives a person the feeling of control more than having work to do. And busy people simply don't have the energy to engage in the mental gymnastics of conspiracy theories. The Backstory is brought to you by EE Media Productions. Production copyright 2021 EE Media Productions. If you enjoyed this episode of The Backstory and want to hear more, subscribe to our 234 Audio YouTube channel. Episodes of this podcast and our other podcasts can also be found on our website, 234audio.com, as well as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. This episode of The Backstory was produced by Alexandra Gekpe, Richard Anyebe, Nabilah Usman, Dominic Tabakaji, and Sam Tabakaji. Executive producer Rahmat Muhammad. Special thanks to Rabia Hadejia and Malaiwa Gbado Ikaleku. If you are interested in sponsoring this program, reach out to us at 0818-230-1234 or email us at info@234audio.com. I'm Rahmat Muhammad. See you next week.